Hello, everyone. Welcome to Women with Grit. Today is the second day of Black History Month. And of course, we celebrate Black history year round. But I wanted to give you a fact about a woman. Her name is Patricia Era Bath. She was an American ophthalmologist, an inventor, humanitarian, and academic. She was an early pioneer of laser cataract surgery. She also became the first woman member of the Jules Stein Eye Institute, very prestigious, and the first woman to head a postgraduate training program in ophthalmology, and first woman elected to the honorary staff of the UCLA Medical Center. Bath was the first African-American person to serve as a resident in ophthalmology at New York University. She was also the first African-American woman to serve on staff as a surgeon at UCLA Medical Center. Bath was the first African-American woman doctor to receive a patent for a medical purpose, the holder of 5 patents, and she also founded the nonprofit American Institute for the Prevention of Blindness in Washington, D.C. Again, her name is Patricia Era Bath. And that's how we're going to kick off Black History Month.
Awesome.
And speaking of patents, our former guest, Philonise Nash, her husband was just awarded a patent. And he just sent me a copy of it. So congratulations to Dr. Nash. Another shout out to Bishop Joseph Walker, who has his book out, Leadership and Loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Most popular loners.
That's a big one right there. So Leadership and Loneliness. You can today is launch day. You can go check it out on his website, or you can go to Amazon and pick it up. So just a couple of things we wanted to shout out today. Sherelle, what's going on in your world?
Man, Lee, just so much. First, thank you all for joining. Just so excited that you all are here for Women with Grit. Got an exciting guest in store for you coming soon. What's going on in my world, Lee? I'm working on book number 4. That'll be released in September. You know, I mentioned I got a cadence to launch one moving forward for the next foreseeable whenever. And then we've got the empowerment as well as execution series that are going, which is just so fun and live. And then a couple of other speaking engagements. So we're having fun. We're having fun at BSM.
Good. Well, keep it up. Same here. You know, we have a lot of stuff going on in the investment world. Of course, you know, if you got in on GameStop and made a couple coins, cash out, get your money, invest in something else. Don't go blow it on anything crazy. It shows the power of the people and how when people come together, they can kind of overcome the systems that are in place that aren't necessarily designed for the regular everyday people. So if I'm not saying one way or another whether or not you should get in or not at this point, but you know, if you weren't in at 19 or at 30, then you probably missed the big swing in it. But yeah, definitely in this investment world right now, we're seeing just a lot of different things. The key to it, though, is to start investing. So many of our listeners are not really investing, and that's unfortunate. But you really need to invest. In order to build wealth, you have to own something, and that something has to grow in value. So you can't just look good. That's right. That'll last a little while. You get in some places free and maybe get a free drink from time to time. But you really have to own something. So whether it's real estate, stocks, mutual funds, own a company, or what have you, you've got to own something in order to get ahead. So, and it's got to grow over time. So we'll talk about that some other time. Just wanted to drop that on you today. And we want to thank, and speaking of investing, we want to talk about Mr. Terrell Perry at Molet Investment Services. So those of you all that have not gotten your financial plan together for 2021, give Terrell a call, 615-627-0968, 615-627-0968, or email him at Terrell, Terrell, at moletinvestmentservices.com. Don't keep putting it off. Before you know it, you'll be 65 and wishing you could retire, only to know that, you know, the $20,000 you have saved up, really not a whole lot you can do with it. And Social Security is not what you may think it's going to be. So give Terrell a call. For those of you that do not have life insurance, he'll be happy to give you a quote. He quotes from many different companies and different types of coverage. He's a professional, so he'll help you determine what works best for you. If you need auto insurance, homeowners insurance, motorcycle insurance, any type of property and casualty insurance, if you need workers' comp for your company or builder's risk insurance for your if you're a contractor, give the folks at MJC Insurance a holler. Just go to their website, mjcins.com, mjcins.com. Melissa, Cassandra will be happy, or Lisa will be happy to help you get what you need taken care of. And then if your company has been contemplating whether or not to start work benefits for your employees, that's the best way to keep your employees, is to make sure they have some benefits. If they know that they're leaving and they're leaving something, then it makes it a little bit more difficult for them to leave for an additional 50 cents an hour. So give Lauren Overton at Mollett Investment Services a holler, Lauren at MollettInvestmentServices.com, or you can go to the website, MollettInvestmentServices.com, to check out and drop a note that you want somebody to get in touch with you. And we'll be happy to get in touch with you and help you put together your insurance plan for your employees, your retirement plan for your employees. And if you're a solo employer, it's just you, happy to help you put together an individual pay or solo pay to help set up your retirement as well. And last but not least, we want to shout out SherelleLands.com, because so many of us are trying to get our lives together, our professional lives together. We want you to just go to SherelleLands.com. As she mentioned earlier, she's got another book that she's working on. She's got empowerment series that she's working on. And not just working on, but actually she has, if you're looking for a speaker, give her a call. Sherelle does so many different things. So give her a shout as well. I can't think of anything else. It's cold here in Nashville, so I don't know where everyone is. But one thing I do want y'all to do. One thing I want y'all to do is, if you think about it, shoot us a Black history fact that we may not know. So we don't want to hear about the normal people. We want to hear about, it may just be a Black history fact from your family or someone you know, or just something that most people don't know. And history could have happened yesterday. So just shoot us something very positive that you want our listeners to hear from. Oh yeah, and you can check us out now. Make sure you let your friends know they can catch us on YouTube, catch us on LinkedIn, of course, Facebook, or on our website. And if you have not liked our page on Facebook yet, please go ahead and like it and follow us on Facebook at Women with Grit, Exceptional Women with Grit, and sign up for our YouTube page, our YouTube channel. Sorry. Check us out on Instagram. Just follow us everywhere you are. We have some phenomenal women that we're going to be interviewing in the coming weeks, and you do not want to miss them. All right, Sherelle, what's up next?
All right. Well, I'm just so excited about our guest, and I'm going to go ahead and bring her up stage, Miss Monchiere.
I like it.
Mojo Marketing.
Yeah.
Super excited to have you on.
Thank y'all.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about you, about your story of grit, just so that our viewers can get to know you a little bit more.
Oh, goodness. The question is, where do you start? One thing I noticed when I saw the word grit, I was like, I love that word, but I don't use it enough. You know what I mean? But maybe I do, and I just don't, put a title on it. And I think, if you're an entrepreneur, that's no matter man or woman, the grit is there. So if you're passionate about what you're doing and you are making sure your craft is what it is, you're there. So I started out, I'm born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. My daddy had a truck driving school. Like, he did it on the weekends. And I remember being so proud, but excited at the same time, because he always worked. He always had a job, military guy. And so when he did his side entrepreneurial thing, I was like, whatever this is, I like. And he had me assisting. And I just thought it was so cool that people were paying my dad to teach them something. Nice. I would always tell people about, that my dad has a truck driving school. My dad was at the truck driving school. And I love that. And people still do reach out to him, to this day. And I think when I got to college, my mom had already prepared me. I wanted to be a news anchor. You couldn't tell me I wasn't going to be no news anchor. I was ready. And then college came around and my ambition soared. It soared for everything that was about the communications marketing craft. So I did well both in the PR realm, but I also did well in the marketing realm. And as much as I thought I was just going to go and be Nelson Mandela's publicist, literally, that's what I put in my thesis paper. I was going to be Nelson Mandela's publicist because I love people who do great things and leave legacy. And so that has always been in me. But then, life happened. I got an internship. I got another one. And I was in the advertising business. And I was in the advertising business when I was their first Black hire. Didn't know it. I was a naive college kid, just excited to learn what I was learning. And, that opportunity took me to Detroit, Michigan, where I worked for GM right after college. Then I worked for another big three, working on just Bosch, Domino's, White Castle, Caesar Entertainment. I've done it. I've had the career. But I think the itch was already there. I'm an OG millennial. So I already knew that, look, I had a 2-year mark on most of my things. Thank God I had great relationships, and this smile and everything else kept me, because I could hop from any city with the same company at any given moment. I was like, you know what? This is my time's up.
Love that. I love that.
I'm going to go to Atlanta. I'm going to go to Jacksonville, Florida. I'm going to go to LA. I mean, I was all over. I remember one of my aunts said, "Girl, you're not gonna be with no company." I said, "Probably not." That's that old school mindset. But I think it was because I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I dreamed in those cubicles in Detroit when it was like 500 of us and 6 of us was African American, and this is 2003. I dreamed of, like, showing my creativity, having my own thing. I was watching all the other Blacks who were at other spaces in advertising, like shining. And I was like, I want to do that for myself, right? But couldn't really put those pieces together because I hadn't done business on my own. Well, fast forward past Katrina, because I'm a New Orleans girl. Past Katrina, came home, helped mom out, figure out how we're going to rebuild a house. We didn't have as much damage as many, so we were grateful, but we all were rebuilding houses. Some of these people never built the house in the first place. So, it was new. It was new for us. And I went and I was volunteering. I was like, oh, we're going to do an all Black girls, Girl Scout. I'm going to go do this. I was everywhere. Just all over the place, just trying to sow seed, but then just also finding myself too at the same time. But one thing was steadfast. I've always done marketing, advertising, and PR. I haven't hopped around. This is what I do. I love amplifying. So, when people ask you that question, what would you do if money wasn't a thing? I was like, the same thing I'm doing now. If money's not the issue, I think a lot of us, especially my culture, African American culture, needs strategic amplification. We have to be able to be in the spotlight, but also structurally set ourselves up to win for sustainability. And it's not always about the coin, as I say. Right. A lot of times they want, it's about how many people come and buy stuff from you. Yeah, but you also could have told them about that great pie you just made and how it's the unique recipe and your grandmother gave it to you, 200 years ago, et cetera. And that could be a news story that can get 1,000 people into this, into the space. So really just thinking about, we don't always celebrate ourselves in the way that we should. We celebrate by money or, another location. But I'm like, you newsworthy every month. I mean, we are people of culture and creativity. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what to my own thing. I wanted to do good work, people that I chose, advertising, marketing, and PR. And so in 2011, I just was like, okay, this is enough. Let me try out. And honey, it was a lot. I was having heart palpitations. I was all pumped up. I got the pension that I had put together. I got this massive pension and I was deleting it every day. I mean, it was depleting every day. I was like, what is going on? Like, shouldn't I be putting money into this thing? But it was a stressful uptick. Then we moved in the midst of it.
Wow.
My husband and I both are from New Orleans, 6 blocks away from each other. Wow. And we moved to Detroit when we were dating. And we used to live in Nashville because we thought Nashville, was a good center point on our way to home. It's like a 19-hour ride. And people like, why you didn't fly? Because we were broke. You don't fly. You get in your car and you drive. And so
I remember that in college radio.
like that's what you do. And we slept in Brentwood one time, but didn't know it was Brentwood. And so happened I saw some horses, and honey, I was sold. I was like, this is how these people live. You can't tell me that. I don't know how the Brentwood we were driving in on our way back to New Orleans, but I was sold. You couldn't tell me nothing. And I think I started researching from that. I was like, oh, they got HBCUs. Oh, they black. They got black people there. You know.
Hey, that's real though. People are surprised at the number of African Americans in and around Nashville.
Oh,
yeah.
We're still shocked. So my answer is we're 4 HBCUs, and then they'll think, oh yeah, y'all go fit. Oh yeah. I'm like, come on now.
That's good.
But that's our job to do a better story for Nashville. We talk about that later, but just making sure the narrative includes us is our job. But I think what you guys are doing kind of helps that as well. But, you know, I knew I was coming here. I knew who I was. You know, being a black little chocolate girl with a daddy, that helps. You know what I mean? It helps any kid. It helps any kid. But having a black kid in this economy in New Orleans, have a father to guide her and kind of prepare, and a mother, you know, just a great parent to kind of get you to this point. You're short, you know what I'm saying? I just had the best parents. Don't get me wrong, ain't nothing was perfect.
Right.
I'm not trying to sugarcoat it at all.
Yeah.
But it has happened because I got many whippings. Hello, I'm the whipping. Look, tell me. Look, right.
Oh yeah, all of our parents would be locked up right now. I mean, still locked up. You know?
Seriously, not getting out. You know what I mean?
20, 30 years after.
But I'm grateful for them, and I always want to express that every time I get a moment because, and you know, it's just been a blessing. But what happened was I came here, and my husband, and he was like, "Well, you might have to get a job because you know you don't have no clients. I have to leave my clients at home in New Orleans. I had a couple PR clients, but I needed to be in New Orleans." And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna work 1 year, and then I'm going back to my life." Got a gig at Cigna Health Spring. They were merging at the time. And I was heading up their promotions and advertising as they were merging that department. And they didn't know it, but I was just kind of like, I'm going to kill this for y'all. Then I'm going to exit stage left. But at June or July came in the 1 year mark. And I was like, oh, I've done nothing. But keep in mind, I've already been an entrepreneur at this point, and I'm freaking out because like I've done nothing to amplify, create the business here. Yeah. Well, I had a little tear moment. Then I woke up and was like, all right, every day from that July date, I went on lunch, went to a meeting, found people online that I didn't know, started a Facebook group to meet people. Because keep in mind, I knew no one here. And just was doing what I do. I spoke for free. I would call people and be like, your church have that event? I'll tell them about branding and marketing. Nice. I literally, and you know, spoke for free. And I remember asking one of my coworkers at the time, she was doing Mary Kay. And I was like, oh, I could come tell y'all how to really amplify that. Like if you know, multi-level marketing, but I can tell you how to really do it. And they invited me. And then I got invited to the bigger Mary Kay conference that had come the year later. That turned into speaking for 5 minutes, turned into a $60,000 client.
Oh, wow.
And I gave my notice. I was like, all right, good. All right, let's and then I specifically said, please put retired. I'm retiring. And then they looked at me. I was like, I want one of those retired slips. And I still have it in my office. And I've never turned back. And I remember, I think because of the way I was connecting with Nashville, folks thought I was, you know, just kind of one of these up and coming branding chicks. I was like, no, I've been doing this for 18 years. This is real life. You know what I mean? Like I ain't making up yesterday. You know, we marinated in this. And so I think when I love that. Later, we've run with T-Mobile, Hiller Plumbing, Mr. Roof, the United States Postal Service. We just did the doggone thing, and I worked. It was me and you know all of my partners, you know, freelancers or something like that. But we grinded, and there was a many times where the work was harder than it was worth the money. Hello.
Through that,
I understand that.
you still give it your all because you want the next one to be worth the money.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, you're still trying to build something, especially in the advertising and marketing space. It is not about who you got as a client today; it's who you're trying to get later. So you have to do, and it's also your craft. It's like an artist. Like I'm painting this, I can't just be blah. So when I hear those tragic stories where people, it didn't work out, I chuck it up to structure and how it wasn't set up from the beginning. That doesn't mean that person who's an advertising, marketing, or PR person is bad. That may be that their structure that they tried to merge, your dream and her amplification, didn't really get set up right in the beginning. So, you know, a lot of people will see it with your counterparts. Yeah, I messed up with that one over there. I was like, I said, I'm pretty sure if that girl been doing that, or that female or person been doing it for 18 years, she doing something.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes we're extra hard on people who amplify us because of you feel like they didn't get you to be the celebrity you want to be. And
right.
So I always very friendly to that, to my colleagues, competitors alike.
Yeah. Let me ask you this one quick question. When it comes to, because you've used the term strategic amplification, and I love it.
Okay.
Can you define that for our audience when you talk about amplifying and what that is or what that looks like? Because you're right, it's very important, and especially in the entrepreneur space, or if you own a small business.
Yeah. So what that is basically you got to take the time to pause to tell everybody about it, and if that's your social media following of 100. Or if that you sending an email to a local newspaper, or to that news anchor who came in your bakery, or to someone who you met at a conference to tell them what you have going on. A lot of times entrepreneurs, no matter who, black or white, we don't take the time to actually share out what we're doing. We live in a social world, and even beyond the social world, the only reason that other small business brands were getting amplified or growing to multiple locations because other people were telling people about it. And we used to say that was word of mouth, but that really wasn't word of mouth. That was strategic. Somebody putting it out there and saying, you know what, we got to support this place. Let's go and do it. That's that maybe a chapter of a Greek organization who said, oh man, have y'all ate there? We got to go over there and support that, because it's not going to be reoccurring until you have a group that really understands what the value is of your brand. Yeah. Right. And so we have to find moments to articulate that, which is strategic amplification. And what I use that term all the time. Like, if you're not going to find a moment to articulate it, then don't do it.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
So, you know, people are, everyone's talking about, you know, their brand and the need to create a brand. What are the basics to creating your brand? Let's, you know, somebody's just kind of getting started off. I mean, they may be well into their career, but they've never really worried about their brand. What's step one?
Step one. So one thing is understanding the difference between marketing, branding, PR, advertising, social media, and the list of things you can do, right? Okay. And so if you don't know the difference, you get pulled in the way. Oh, I need somebody to do my social media. I need somebody to give me some PR. I need somebody, you know, and the church folks always say PR is everything and not right. Right? So I always educate before we even start. So here's what branding is. Branding is the foundation. It's how foundation, the concrete, how big you want it. Do you want it to look like a sidewalk? Do you want people in California to see it? Do you want it to be angled a certain way? You got to understand how thick and wide you want that to be before you put a house on it, right? So positioning is branding. Position yourself to be seen how you want to be seen. Position yourself for people to say what you want them to say, and position yourself to get the return that you're reaching for, right? So if you don't position yourself like you want a fish, and I know, and in marketing for some time they were using the fishing model, like go in a pond and see who catches. Man, I always used to be against that, because we live in a very ambitious society. America has always been like that. You wait on that time to go ahead and put yourself in the pond and see who responds. Your dream is not based on that. Your dream is based on what you felt, the vision, if we're going to talk fate, vision God gave you to create something. So why are you going to go put it in the pond and wait to see what they said? No.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Teaching people how to treat your brand is another first step. That's basically it. So I want to have a business.
Teach people how to treat your brand?
Yeah, teach people how to treat your brand, i.e. your dream, is the first step. Because think about it. I always I play this little game called branding dinner with people from time to time when they can't articulate what they're trying to put together or put out in their business. And I said, if this was your last dinner, like who who's going to be at the table. Like I'm talking about last dinner, your life, you lived it well, all the things you wanted to happen. Who are the 6 people at the table, including you? And I said, you can put anybody from people who passed on, people you've never met, people that don't exist, celebrities alike. And I remember I had a lawyer who was turning motivational speaker, and she's very talented with that. And she told me Beyonce had to be at the party. I was like, well, why Beyonce? She said, because I love her style. I love everything. I love that she's a hard worker. And that what I told her was like, that means you need to position yourself around those type of clientele, because they're not that. You're going to be very frustrated with the work you're doing. And you're not going to want that. Your marketing needs to appeal to the Beyonce of the world. You see what I'm saying? So let's cut the muck. Don't waste your time. Oh, let me put a website up, and the website don't look nothing like what your dream or what you're trying to articulate.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's sometimes where people get hung up, because they're like, I just need a website. I just need a website. But they have not done the positioning or just laid out the vision. And, that's because people are not doing business planning no more. They're not writing.
Yeah, they do it that and
yeah. This is the idea. I sell chocolate. And then and what happens is they don't have the vision to be in the store later. So then we find out us amplifiers, because I'm not the only amplifier. You guys are amplifiers. We find out they got some good chocolates, and we're like, we can get a store for this. This is great. And they can't figure it out or fathom it. Why? Because when they first rooted it down, they didn't write it down, and they didn't put the brand together. They didn't put a position together for the brand foundation. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's kind of where I'm.
You are preaching.
Now,
but you're preaching. I mean, everything that you're saying is so relevant. Yes.
So as a person tries to ascend in their corporate life, what is that? How does that brand? Is that different? Is that corporate brand different than their personal brand? If so, how and why? If not, why not? I mean, just because that's people are trying to figure out. One of the things we're doing with the table is really trying to help people figure out how to get from supervisor to managing director to VP to the C-suite. And you hear a lot of different things about how to, what you need to do. But I think a lot of personally think a lot of it is, who knows you and how do they perceive you? Do they see you in the C-suite, or do just you see yourself in the C-suite?
One of my favorite questions you're asking, because I know I talk a lot about entrepreneurship, but I love, because I did this thing and when I worked at Caesars Entertainment, I didn't know I was doing it, but I did it. And like I tell people, it was one of my best jobs. If they wouldn't have laid off because of the recession, I'd probably still be there when it never started, because I was living the life. You hear me? But here's what that is. Yes, there is two. You got to find time to do both, and then it'll meet back up. That's my mindset. Your personal could be your passions, could just be family. Everything ain't got to be about volunteering to the end of the world, but it also got to be about you putting your baby on social media 24/7. Okay, we love your baby, but we don't need to see that all the time. You got to find the time for it, right? And so strategically, you need to find your moves and find your people in your career that you need to do. And it's not always the person who's shining right now. We do that here locally. We find the person that's shining and we ride them. And we're like, I got to meet them. And I'm like, I'm not mad at that. But you need to learn to market across. Because when you go up, if the across ain't representing you, they're going to become your problem. You ain't got nobody to hold you up. Right. And so my colleagues were my people. I mean, I knew everybody at my equal stance. We were either cool or we knew each other, and we worked together and something instant well. So when I moved up and I did something either, to go up, it was like, oh, I love that. You had a team coming with you, or you felt like that you had the support. One of the things I did was make sure I met everybody in every department that I wanted to know, even if it had nothing to do with the job I wanted. I still knew the departments that job worked with. So if they never worked with my job, I would walk. Oh, I see her at lunch. I looked up online. I'll go sit next to lunch with. Oh, you work with such and such. But I also don't have a problem talking to people. You know what I mean?
I always had you pegged for an introvert. Really.
Listen, the general manager of the casino. Look, if any of my New Orleans friends listening to this, they probably cracking up laughing. The general manager of the casino would shop at Tuesday mornings.
Got some good stuff in there.
Right.
Really good stuff.
love Tuesday morning, right? And I found out, and I knew the good Tuesday mornings.
Mhm.
I went to 2 of them. Okay. Found out that she shopped there often, is my point.
Okay.
Yeah.
On a certain day. I found out.
Mhm.
Well, I showed up one day. I mean, like I was 3 dates in, and boom, had a whole conversation, chatted it up. It is fun. We're still friends today. She's now general manager at another casino. But what that did was she opened me to another woman. Actually, to go ahead with your black fact, one of the first black women to head up a casino. Her name is Karen Sott. Before they had more, she's out of, and she actually owned with Jimmy Buffett his casino in that market, Biloxi. So great mentor, but that relationship connected me to this woman who is, kind of mentored me through that process of the things I wanted to do. But it's always about knowing people. Sometimes we say, oh, it's about who you know. But if you're waiting on people to introduce you, that's not going to happen. Sometimes we think it's volunteering our way to the top. That's dumb. Okay. Volunteering. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all said this was a regular show.
No, keep it real. Yes, keep it real.
Like, you cannot volunteer your way to the top, because guess what? The people who volunteering are most likely not the folks who are actually going to be making the decisions all the time, because they don't have the time to do that. The people who are volunteering have the time to do it. So understanding where your people are. So you think, okay, I volunteer, they see me at this event. No, I would volunteer for other departments' work. So like a whole other department would always do a tournament. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll take a vacation day. And I'm gonna go help you at your golf tournament that you're doing, because all the presidents are there.
Okay.
So I volunteer there. I would still do the nice volunteering. We love the people.
Right.
We support. But that's the type of stuff that I would do. So when you think about taking an off day, take an off day and ask your coworker or a colleague in another department, hey, you guys got that big event, I want to help out. They're gonna tell you no, probably not on your own vacation time. Sure, come on, we need extra hands, especially when it's an event. Right. So I would do strategic moves like that. I would also always know who my people were. Like what boards were they sitting on? I wouldn't see it being a kiss butt, but you just gotta know the game you're playing. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, if it's blindly because one person liked you, and okay, they brought you up because you helped them, that's great. But that's how we work sometimes, and that's not how we need to move. We need to have more tentacles on our moves. You know what I mean? Like, it can't just be that one move. The moment you feel like you got a new friend, cool. Tell me about 8 more people that look like you, so that you can actually have tentacles on it. Because if you're trying to grow up in a company that has a lot of people, especially corp life, you can't move small.
Yeah. And I also learned, at least for me being in corporate, a lot of it had to do with owning your own career path instead of waiting for people to kind of assign things to you. Was really taking a handle of where you wanted to see yourself and being comfortable with articulating, exactly what you said. But that only came with spending time, to your point, in other departments, interviewing, and just, figuring out what you enjoyed and what you liked best, and being able to actually articulate that up. So I love that you mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Monchiere, I mean, time is flying. It's 7:36.
I love it.
Hey, if you want to grab a swig of water or something like that, we'll give you about a minute break.
Okay, I like it. That means we're having good conversation, I hope.
Yes,
very good.
Yeah, we got some shout outs. We have what's his name in Dunwoody, Georgia, Michael Pimpton, and then you had someone, Melanie. Yep. So hey, Michael, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Also out of New Orleans, Dedrick Moulton, who's a physician. He actually moved there. He and his wife Kathy moved there from Nashville to take over a position at one of the hospitals there. So
hey, Dedrick,
shout out to you all, and Alfonso Harvey, Mr. CEO.
Alfonso.
Yeah, shout you out, and Justin Davis. I don't know. Did Justin say? I saw you asked where he was from. Where are you from, Justin? Just trying to.
Washington.
Where?
I think I saw Washington.
Okay, Washington. Okay, awesome.
He was from Tacoma, Washington.
Okay, cool. And I see Philonise Nash and Rhea Kennard, who's coming up. she's on deck.
Looking forward to it.
Looking
Hey,
forward
Philip, good to see you again.
Yeah. So again, we want to say thank you to our sponsors, MJC Insurance. Go to mjcins.com. MJC will shop numerous top-rated companies to help you find the best insurance for your family, for your homeowners and auto owners. This is a good chance to shop around. I remember I just called them up randomly and said, "Hey, how are my rates? You got anybody cheaper?" And they found somebody who was about 25-30% less than what I was paying. So I immediately made that switch and just got a refund from the other company. So that's what it's about. You got to be smart with your money. Also, I want to thank Terrell Perry at Mollett Investment Services. Terrell, Terrell at Mollett Investment Services. Give him a call. Get your life insurance squared away. We want your family to be able to mourn you and cry and all that, and not cry because you left them broke. So make sure you take care of your family and leave them in a good position. We don't know when we're leaving, but we do know we are leaving. No one has beat life. So make sure you take care of that. Also, Terrell will help you put your financial plan together and get you on the right track, and or help you make some decisions with your 401k plan at work or what have you. So give Terrell a shout, and give Lauren a shout at Mollett Investment Services for your company to help you with your benefit plans. If you're a solo employer, solo entrepreneur, and need a retirement plan, we can help you set up your solo K and even your personal health insurance plan. And then also want you to go check out thetableaction.com, www.thetableaction.com. That is with my co-founder, Kate Wood, and we are just having a good time over there. We have 91 members and 5 really good sponsors. Yay. Now we started this in in November, October. So it's
right.
Yeah. And of course, Sherelle Lands is one of our sponsors. So we thank you and your company for that. So check it out, thetableaction.com. It's definitely for everybody. There's an opportunity for everyone as you look at how we can create prosperity for everyone in our city, in our region. And this is something that we're taking across the country. Some of the companies that are sponsors are multinational type companies. So they have other offices and have asked us to make sure we include the other offices and things that we're doing. So it's a great opportunity. Check it out. And whether you're corporate, an entrepreneur, whether you want to sponsor someone and help them in their career, or you need to be sponsored, this is definitely for you. And then lastly, go to SherelleLands.com and check out all the things that Sherelle has going on. It's going to be phenomenal. Get yourself together, get your corporate stuff together, get your life together, get motivated, and get your team, get the people around you. You want to have positive people around you. And so, buy them a couple of books and even put them into some of her seminars. And of course, you can have Sherelle come out and speak and she didn't have to come out. She can speak on Zoom. So, so whatever you have going on, do that. And then lastly, want to shout out Bishop Joseph Walker and his book, Leadership and Loneliness. So this is a real book, a real good book. And, as you become a leader, as you become a CEO, this is just real. You sit there some days and just think, how am I going to move forward?
Maybe lost your visual.
Okay, yeah, I see. Huh? What happened? Let me see. There we go. I don't know what happened. Have to check on that. But yeah, so definitely check out Bishop Joseph Walker's book, Leadership and Loneliness. Go to Amazon or check out his website. And what else do we have, Sherelle? Any more shout outs or questions? And definitely send in your questions if you have any.
Right. So definitely want to thank you all for joining in with our guests. I mean, this has been a dynamic time, especially if you're someone who has been thinking about the marketing space and what that means specifically to you. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat and we will make sure that we ask them throughout the remainder of our program here. And we're going to just bring her back on up and have some fun. I definitely think that let me see. Monchiere, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, awesome. Lee, I'm going to pull you back. Oh, there you are. I was just going to say, I'm going to pull you backstage until we get that.
Oh yeah, I don't know what, you know what, I'm on my backup camera.
Oh,
Backup camera. That's my other camera. And it's
So
not
I
as
have,
clear as my personal, but
I
we're
wanted
rolling.
to ask you just a quick question because you know you are in that space of amplification, right? And you are in that space of making sure that you essentially toot your own horn. Do you specifically see any differences when it comes to, okay, so let me back up. What we have seen through the body of doing Women with Grit is that, you know, even a lot of our past guests had to kind of overcome that self-limiting belief, whether it's, you know, insecurity, whatever that is. Have you seen any of that, whether it be in yourself that you've had to overcome in order to do your job in the space of amplification, or is there a common theme that you see within women when it comes to amplification?
oh goodness. So yeah, that's a good question. So yes, of course, that I would be lying to y'all if I said I didn't feel like there was moments of insecurity. I think I always knew I was creative and I always knew that I knew what I was doing and I never stopped learning my craft, right? So that part I was confident on. So that I would take that to the bank. But then that business side, I was like, Lord Jesus, help me. I'm going to kill the company if I don't get help. So I got smart enough and realized I got to hire people for all the stuff I don't know
There
because
it is.
that was where I was insecure, hunt all day long. Again, I'm an extrovert. I have introvert moments very seldom.
When you sleep, eyes are closed.
Look, my husband would say I talk too much. He'd be like, Lord Jesus, girl, let me go with this. But I would say definitely, you know, it's always been about just making sure I actually was running a good business too at the same time and
Yeah.
wanting to scale. You know, if I'm calling a spade, I was like, I know I could compete against Bohan. You know, those are the folks who hired me to be a VP tomorrow. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I can do that. So when I got those opportunities to go head to head with them on projects, just because I had this one niche that maybe they didn't know, and big companies were like, actually, this young girl over here killing it. We may just go with this because maybe cheaper budget. I was like, okay, that's those confident boosters. That was this kind of, you don't want to make me cocky, Lord Jesus, especially especially in the industry space, But I definitely was insecure because I hadn't done the business thing. I mean, who has, unless you've been in operations for a long period of time? And that kind of was my trouble.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think on the other end for women, yes, most of my clients have been women. So I always see these things because if I sign you as a client or you become a Mojo client, I believe in your stuff. Whatever it is you got, honey, I believe in it. And sometimes I believe more than you. You know, a lot of times when we're zeroed in and we're trying to get the craft done, and that's for me too, you don't see what else could be. And so sometimes you got to show them better you can tell them, because I'll be sitting in those meetings and I'm like, if I hear her say one more time, well, you know, we're not that big. We just did this amount of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes we scurry small, and sometimes we just have to be reminded. And I don't think it's more women. It is a women's thing, of course, to an extent, but it's also because we are trying to do step by step because maybe we got the kids, maybe we got mom, maybe we got extra look, you know, the other hands that men don't always have. I'm not gonna say they don't have it, but they don't always have. And so you have to think about other people when you're moving. So I feel like we sometimes move a little slower because of fear.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And hang on just a little bit longer instead of, like you said, taking the leap and knowing when to actually delve in or dive in.
Right. Exactly.
So how do you know when to take the leap, or should you just take it? I mean, how do you shake the nerves? Do you shake the nerves?
I think in this climate, it's kind of, if you have the pieces to the puzzle, You know what I mean? If you got it together, that's when you take the leap. Now, if you don't have it and you're trying to, and I say this climate meaning post-pandemic, all of this, don't do too much if you ain't, you know,
Right.
2020 again. But I would say if you don't have the pieces to the puzzle, but you got one sure fact, and the sure fact may not be a client, it could be that, look, I know I could do this way and people will come. I know that's people don't like that, but if you make those good chocolates and that people love them by the drove, all you have to do is amplify the right way to get their friends to do the same thing. You know what I mean? But if you're trying to copy off of somebody else or figure out that, hey, that they have something and we should do that because it's selling for them, I wouldn't jump at a risk like that. You know what I mean? Inauthentic risk always become trouble.
That's
right.
We
all know that. You know what I mean? If you're trying to do it because you see another agency like yours or that trend may be upticking, that doesn't mean you need to jump into it. You know, and I got a lot of that after, you know, as in 2020. Every client I had came with a pivot. And I was like, I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause on that. Matter of fact, look, I love you, but I'm going to go ahead and cancel your contract because I can't pivot just because you pivot in every 2 seconds. We on pivot number 3, you know? Right. And the market, that's not the business, right?
You got to do the work, yeah.
Right, I got to do the work 3 times. And so really pause. We had the Junior Olympics. We were excited. It was going to be the biggest thing we did. I mean, it's canceled across. It's for 2 years. It's almost canceled, you know? Wow. And so being able to pause and say, okay, what am I going to do? And I took myself back to when I told my professor I was going to be Nelson Mandela's publicist and said, I want to work with people who are going to change our lives. You know what I mean? And those I put that in the atmosphere and that came back. I didn't even need to knock on the door. It just started coming in droves. Now we're too busy.
See, that's good. So when you think about like the recipe for success for women, especially, or it could be for anyone, what would you say are some of the core, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 things that are necessary?
It's going to have to be fearlessness. Like, and there's a lot of things about grit that I like, and I told y'all I like that word, but it definitely is about fearlessness. Because when you know, like, you can know what you love and all of those things, but if you get every corner, you got to take a pause. That's not going to get you no success. Or it could get you success because you got some type of a partner or helper down the line. But by yourself, it's going to pause you. You got to really be able to move clearly and fearlessly. Like, your days should not start in anguish. You know what I mean? I've been there, done that. You know what I mean? We've all had it when you're building a company, but you got to learn to turn that off and get the work done and do it at your best. You know what I mean? When you're fearless, you're doing stuff sloppy. You know you are. You know, it could be how you're managing your staff. You know, you're just kind of like, I'm worried about this, so I'm not focused on this. Like, we got to take time sometimes to kind of just rewind and like set everything at the same playing field so you can manage it. But I do think fearlessness is one of them for success. I also think, you know, when we are on the track of success and we're trying to get maybe to the next level, we go to classes. And I love classes. Nashville is a class city. Let me tell you, they got a program for everything.
True.
When I they got one more program to meet people. And as I come from a city, you know, where everybody just speaks to anybody, I was kind of like, okay, all right, let me figure this out. But I would say this, that if you definitely want to re-educate yourself, but you also can teach yourself. You know what I mean? It's different. Sometimes I feel like you ain't got to go to the class to get that. And women do. Women, I feel like women are school types. You know what I mean? I'm not saying brothers and the men are not, but women will go sign up for a whole nother degree when all you needed to do is teach yourself. That shouldn't alter your company. Now you got a whole degree, you're working on a degree and running a business. And the debt, and a lot of times the debt or lost wages that can't come with it. Exactly. You just layering on top of stuff, you know? So I feel like that's sometimes I see that, especially with our greats. Our greats are so good, but they're all over the place. And they're all over the place because they're finding ways they're not fearless. Right.
So, so you've talked about your husband a little bit. This is your time. This is your chance to, you know, make things really, you know, make him want to cook dinner.
I already pointed. I said food in the kitchen. Food in the kitchen.
So talk about though how he supports you and holds you down. Why, you know, how does that relationship work? Because I mean, you're both busy.
I am I'm blessed because I picked my boyfriend at 7th grade. So like my boyfriend in 7th grade, I found him, and then now he's my husband. So we grew up together in the same neighborhood, but at 18 he came back, and my daddy was like, okay, you can date again, you can have dates, because he didn't know about the 7th grade situation. But always being my friend, I think, we grew up together, and we're growing up together comes with the growing pains of just growing up. But when this business thing started, because he's always known me as the corporate person, he was very, very hesitant, because he's a job guy. He's been on this company 20 plus years. So when he finds out that I'm trying to jump, she'll be like, what are we going to do? He couldn't see it as well. And I remember, like, I'm focused. I'm like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And it took me getting, a couple different contracts, working with Metro PCS and that $60,000 client I told you about. And he was like, actually, this is your thing. And he definitely became full force supportive. He's the heavy lifter. Let me be clear. He is the heavy lifter. And I am a true Southern Belle. I don't like picking up nothing. Hard labor is not my thing. So I'll do for him. I find his points, but I make sure we live well, and he makes sure we live well together. We do a good job at that. But I will say the heavy lifting goes on his side.
Gotcha. So also talk about maybe a period in time where it may have gotten a little dark, or just really kind of. I mean, we all have those, and our listeners need to. It's always good for them to know that they're not out there alone. And then how did you get yourself through it? What did you do? Did you get help? Did you talk yourself through it? Did you drink your way through it? I mean, what did you do to get through?
No, listen. I would definitely say, I lost my mom back in 2017 unexpectedly, and so. I remember we were just on a contract with Hiller for the 2nd year, and we did all of their activations, because that's what's niche about Mojo, is that we do brand activation and experiential, and not a lot of agencies in Nashville do that, and we have the experience to do it. So we were doing that for Hiller Plumbing at the time, and I remember like not wanting to get out the bed for like 5 or 6 months, and he was just like, "Girl, you got to go do this stuff." And you're not doing it, and he's already trying to take care of house, which is not his thing. On top of me just laying in the bed, and I think we went through a period of time where it was kind of like we lived as apartment people. We were living like roommates. We were doing this roommate thing, and I was just basically going out there or sending him to take my place, literally, or canceling or rescheduling or hiring people that I shouldn't have hired or whatever. But one of the things about that, I think as we were frustrated with each other during that time, the rally came. The good thing, we blessed. We told each other right. I don't know how. And I think that's what brought us back. I don't think we don't drink through stuff like that. I mean, grateful. I'm like, look, we already eat good. We'll need to add another issue. But I think every time something comes up and you feel like your partner is not supporting you, I feel like my best moments have been just pulling him to the side, because his mind is going a million things like, hey, I need, and if you can't, those type of things, those moments, because you gotta get reality check, because sometimes he's busy or his mind just doesn't want to do it. And I think that's what I learned. I also learned that I'm not the only one got problems.
Yeah.
No, you're not. That's why I asked the question.
Us women think it's our problem. We the only ones with problems all the time. So I've learned that and have learned that even today in the pandemic. So I'm grateful, and I think I am blessed to an extent, because I've known this man my whole life. But at the same time, we've had it hard, especially with the entrepreneur piece, because it's like, you didn't put this money to come to this. Yeah. Let's figure that out. Right.
So there is a question for you in our chat. Melanie would like to know, what advice do you have for someone who has a business plan but is reluctant to take the first step?
Oh my goodness. That's the ones I want to be like, bop, bop, come on, let's do it. The advice I have is that, especially if you have the business plan, start laying the pieces in place. So if you don't feel like you can make the step, let other people make the step for you. So that means you know what you need. Because if you have a business plan, you know what you need. All right, go ahead and hire the graphic designer. Oh, you got the graphic designer? All right, let's get the website. Okay, you need to ask for clients, and you need to figure out how to get a grant or whatever you're doing. Then hire somebody to do that. But obviously follow the process, because I feel like that's a fearless issue. That's you're scared. I network my way out of fearlessness. You know what I mean? I would go to this event, meet people, hear people speak, learn from other people, and it helped boost your confidence because you were in the environment with people with kindred spirits. So that's also another thing, making sure that you're like constantly feeding the entrepreneurial monster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not halfway doing it one day and halfway doing it another day.
And I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said it, that it's the fear, so if you delve into what that fear is and really dig up that root, what's really holding you back. At least for me, that's kind of what I've seen. When you explore really why you're fearful, a lot of the times it's the stuff, we spend 98% on 2% of the things that don't even happen in terms of our mind. But yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, I love it. You got you got me thinking of some stuff. Let me see, what else did he do that I could you know I'm crazy.
Good.
Nice. So how can we support you? How can our listeners, our viewers connect with you, keep up with you?
Well, I'm on all the social media platforms. So you can find me, Monchiere H-Jones, across that. And Mojo Marketing, we're powered by Mojo on social media. Right now I'm in the season. Look, I realized this past week that I have a lot of Black clients, which I'm proud of. Look, when everybody wasn't shouting Black on, I was shouting Black on for the last 8 years. So I'm proud that I stayed strong to that. But when I woke up, I think January 27 on a Wednesday, and was like, oh, we're launching 4 national marketing campaigns for next week in Black History Month. Who thought of that? I was like, it worked. I was like, oh, I have more Black clients than most people. Okay, you're going to have a Black History campaign. So I would say, let me think about all my people that I'm my clients. One is Fund Black Founders. It is an all-Black crowdfunding platform. Shout out to them, based out of New York. They're running a 28-day Fund Black Founders campaign, talking about just cut the check. Look, we heard all the great. We know you're sorry. We get it. All right, let's find ways to actually move the needle on funding founders who are less than 1% or funded. So shout them out. Locally in Nashville, a juice and yoga bar is opening Alpha Buchanan in that cluster, next to Slim and Huskies and Willie B's, and basically creating a vitality zone for that area. And that's Naila Burnett and her husband, Trey Roberts. Shout out to them. That's going to be coming top of spring. And they're doing great things. So Energy Juice and Yoga Bar. Juices are amazing. It tastes like Kool-Aid, actually, and they're not. So watch that. But really good. But a lot. Boys and Girls Club Middle Tennessee has their first African-American executive director and president. Very proud of Eric Higgs. So definitely, when we think about all of the teachers, there you go. When you think about all the kids who are really getting it in as a result of COVID and the pandemic, they're doing some great work over there and making sure. And they have almost about 75% of the MNPS schools. So doing a great job, and support Boys and Girls Club as any way you can. And then let me see who else I got. Soul of New Orleans, down in New Orleans. Look, my husband, see, you want to know how he helps? He sends, he listens, he watches when I can't think of it. So you remind me one of my
stash cards up.
Yeah. So Soul of New Orleans, and it's a multicultural tourism network. So New Orleans is based on tourism. Everything, the whole money, the system is based on tourism. This network has been around for 20 years, making sure the mom and pop, hole in the walls, Black restaurants are getting the same amplification that all the other tourist spots were. So in COVID, they're doing double duty, maybe triple duty, to just really support the community there. So that's somebody else you should also check out.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. Well, we're bringing it home. So thank you so much. Leah, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I guess I'll close this out.
Yes. Thank you all for tuning in today. I got good news. My son's team won their game. Ravenwood.
Nice.
He had a good game. I got a chance to catch the first part of it, so he had a really good game. Proud of Ravenwood, and of course my son Lee. Third, also I want to challenge you all. I want to challenge everyone this week. Every day this week, I challenge you to find something about an African American person that you didn't know. I mean, just and so you got to take out MLK and Malcolm S. No slavery, Monchiere, just as an inception. But just I just challenge you to go and dig in and find something. Maybe find someone that was very active and influential in your career. And not necessarily your career, but your field, whether it's your business or whatever type of career you're in. And then if you have children, talk to your children about this. And obviously, this is something that we should do year round. Yeah. But the focus is here. Let's not put it off any longer. A lot of times we have to kick it off. I find that it's very important for our children to know who they are and where they come from. Monchiere and I were talking yesterday and said, hey, instead of people always talking, with Black history starting with slavery, let's start off with when we were kings and queens in Africa, and then bring it all the way to where we are today. And then that way you get a complete picture. And all people of color were not slaves. So, that's something also that's really important to know. So that's my challenge to you all. Again, make sure you are checking us out, liking us, and signing up, joining our YouTube page, liking us on Facebook, and just doing everything you can and then make sure you share this evening's show with Monchiere. Make sure everybody hears it, because I know you heard some nuggets today. I did, on how to really take a look at your personal brand and also own your brand and your career or your business or whatever you're doing. Right. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Monchiere, for agreeing to do this with us.
Thank you.
All the things that Mojo Marketing has in store in the future. So keep us posted.
I will. Thank y'all so much for what you're doing. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Do you have any last nuggets that you would like to leave?
Life mantra, love your minute. Take the time to breathe in whatever's going on. Business is one thing, but business is not life. So love your minutes. And I love what Lee did. He ran his kids team. That's the type of stuff that I find to do in the middle of my day, or make sure that my husband and I can get in, or if that's just texting every family member in your roster. I did that on Sunday. I texted every family member I had in my phone, and just said something or caught up, just because I can get busy. And sometimes, but that's sending them a TikTok or whatever. We just got to love our minutes,
That's right.
Yeah, love it.
I love that. So I wanted to share this. I don't know if you, and I'm not, I don't know the company. they're not sponsoring this, but I found these cards online. It's called Urban Intellectuals. And this is kind of what I share with my son. It's a deck of cards, and they've got a couple of volumes that actually talk about different historical figures, African figures in general, just from a cultural perspective, so that, to your point, our children know from a history perspective that history started long before, like you said, slavery. And it really started from, like you said, a place of kings and queens. So if you want to check him out, he loves it. And we just make it a fun game so that he can learn something about a different person once a week. We do once a week,
Okay. Hey, there you go.
I wish show the box, but I think my dog got a hold of it. So the front part.
Oh.
Best I can do.
I love it.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you guys have any further questions, feel free to either leave them, and we'll make sure that we get them back over to Monchiere. Thank you so much again, Monchiere, for joining us. Say that again.
No problem. Thank y'all.
Yes. And so we look forward to you all joining us next week, where we will have another phenomenal guest. We've got a great lineup for the rest of the year as well. And as you can see, I hope that you guys come with notes. And if you know of anyone who you believe has an inspiring story of grit, please feel free to send them to our website, where they can fill out an informational for us. And we will be happy to get in contact with them. Anything else you have, Lee, before we close out and just say good night?
No, have an amazing week. Do something amazing this week. Love your minute.
Yes.
I'm gonna hijack that for a second.
I love it.
That's nice. Yeah.
Go with it.
Hashtag love your minute.
Yes.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.